Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be on this planet of ours. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina at the Area Command. We want to welcome everybody here that is joining us tonight. As we've been doing in times past, we're going to continue this tonight. We're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. Would everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
Thank you guys. Thanks everyone for bringing us this national anthem to us, and also the hosts of the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015 for offering us the Pledge of Allegiance. We love these men. We love our military forces here in the United States, and for that matter around the world. We love these men and women in our allied forces as well, wherever they might be serving. God bless everybody here, and thank you for your service, and may you all return home to your families in safety when your tours of duty end. God bless you all, and thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to be talking to one of our dear friends here on the Emergency Management Associates program tonight. I want to welcome Sage Pup here with us. Sage Pup, welcome to our show tonight.
Hey Ron, how you doing, brother?
We're doing good. We're doing very good. How are you doing?
Family and disaster warnings, and everybody's doing good?
Yep. So far doing good. So far
Right
doing
on.
good.
I don't get a chance to get online very much anymore.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and explain a little bit about that? You don't have to go into huge detail.
Oh, I have my business, and I have my little computer set up at my shop, and My landlord came in and raised my rent 150% 2 weeks before Christmas, and then kicked me out. And the shop's been there for like 25 years now, and that's my only internet Wi-Fi computer connection here where I live at. I don't really get much Wi-Fi. Matter of fact, I'm plugged into a little thing right now just to use my phone. Wow. So having a computer to work on and stuff, I don't have that right now, but I miss everybody. I love everybody, and I hope everybody's staying safe.
I hope so too. I'm so glad to hear from you, Sage Pup. Everybody here. Sage Pup has been with this EMA family for a very long time. Sage Pup has become a dear friend of mine, and I wanted to bring him in here tonight to talk about what's going on in Santa Barbara with all the rain, the damage that's been going on and everything. Tonight we're going to show damage in Los Angeles from a tornado in LA. I want to show or talk about San Francisco weather as well, because you guys in the Pacific Northwest, San Francisco, Los Angeles, all the way down into San Diego and out into Arizona are getting nailed with this rain. We're going to talk about that tonight. In your area, Sage Pup, what's going on?
Oh my God, we got another storm hitting us on Monday.
Wow.
Yeah, this has been ongoing. I've lived here for almost 25 years now. And here in this town, I've only left for a year here and a year there, once or twice, and that's about it. And
wow.
I have never seen the weather like this. As a matter of fact, I worry about a lot of our family here, because you got like Heather and all them up there and around the what's that one volcano? I can't think of it right now, but we got family all over that's getting nailed right now and have been, and I've never seen the snow come this close to downtown. It's always been on top of the mountains of what Santa Barbara. You've been there before, right?
Yes, I have, yeah.
So you know how it's kind of crunched between the beach and the mountain. It's like a little beach goonie town.
Right.
You can't get lost. It's like that way's to the beach, that way's to the mountains. I mean, like, all you have to do is look around and tell which way is north, east, west, and south. So, but the snow here and the rain, and last night, my girlfriend Amy at her house on the other side of town, and she calls me up, she's like, it's hailing here and the winds are getting crazy. It's like what you describe as a tornado, because I'm from Tennessee. I was raised in Tornado Alley there in parts of Tennessee.
Yeah.
And like, I've seen a lot of it. Well, then it hit me like 10 minutes later here where I live across town. Hell, the wind, and everything. And this has been going on almost every week for like 2 months now. And this weather is very unprecedented. And I've never seen snow come all the way down the mountain the way I have, like, over the past month or so. But the real reason why I was hoping we could talk on is because I witnessed some stuff here in Santa Barbara recently that had me discouraged. And one of them is, it was raining, and this homeless person I've known for years and years, sitting out in the rain. I'm like, why aren't you back at the homeless shelter? He goes, they kicked us out. They said there was no room, and they kicked everybody out. And I was like, what are you talking about? Well, the very next day, because since I've lost my dog business, I'm doing construction again, and we were driving down to this part of the funk zone here to rent some jackhammers.
Right.
And right in front of the homeless shelter here in Santa Barbara, there were 3 school buses. And all these people were coming off the school bus, and it wasn't like mixed families and stuff like that. There was probably maybe 8 to 10 ladies and maybe 7 or 8 kids, and pretty much 90% of the rest, there was probably maybe 100, 200 of them all together, were all like males in a certain age and a good portion of them were tattooed out and all this other stuff. It looked surreal, actually. And there was no cops around, there was no nothing. They just pulled right up. They kind of blocked traffic for about 2 to 3 minutes, and here I'm driving. So I'm looking around, and I noticed one of the buses said San Diego School System. And I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. And since then, I haven't seen or heard anything else kind of weird going on. But I just thought that was something that should be brought up, and people should be aware of what's going on in their communities as of some sort of, there's like some sort of silent invasion or something. Something's happening. But
I agree. I totally agree. Something is happening.
Yes, something's happening. And so I did some further investigation this week because I've been trying to do construction. I don't get to go online like I used to. And it turns out there was like, since January, like 1 million people have gotten away that they can, or 130,000, or the numbers are just so weird depending on which news outlet you hear from.
Right.
And but they caught so many known terrorists, so many gangbangers, so many people wanted for murder and all this other stuff, versus so many people that was just trying to get here. And when you do the math of the getaways versus what they actually caught, this is something that everybody needs to be worried about.
Yeah.
And it's like, Ron, for years now, you've been telling us you need to prepare, you need to like know your home defenses, know how to survive, what's your food, what's your gear, your bug out, your bug in, etc., etc. Everybody should take this stuff very seriously right now. We are in a very fragile point in our history.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I did some checking into it, and San Diego City Schools and the San Diego County bus system denies having anything to do with it. I will almost bet you that the Border Patrol paid San Diego County bus to rent, several buses and haul people either to LA or Santa Barbara. I'll almost bet on it. Even though they deny it happening, I will almost bet on it. And
well, maybe them themselves actually probably it could have been somebody in a little higher up system, or somebody who somewhere in that system though. But the Border Patrol agents themselves will most likely deny that.
yeah,
It's somebody in the higher ups that's controlling stuff behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure is involved.
yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure of it. This has been happening a lot. I've had reports out of Los Angeles of people being bused to Los Angeles. I've seen it happening. I've seen videos of undocumented people being unloaded off of buses all over Los Angeles. Literally. I've seen it. And it's happening everywhere. LA is a sanctuary city. It's happening all over. And the fact of the matter is that the Santa Barbara homeless shelter kicking everybody out and inviting these undocumented people into the homeless shelters is preposterous. We're kicking our citizens out of the homeless shelters and bringing these people from the border in. And that's just wrong. Just wrong.
Ron, I've lived here for 23 years. I've never seen... I started out in this town homeless. I was a homeless vet trying to get himself out of the sand and make something of himself 23 years ago.
Right.
And I know the homeless here. I know all the city council members, everything. We used to go to city council claiming how you can't make homelessness illegal. That was like 20 years ago. I've been very involved with this town since I've gotten here.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of weird stuff. Santa Barbara is a weird town. If you know, it is. It's just, you know, kind of funny, like, you know, but I never seen anything like this before.
Right.
And it actually made me think really serious over the past week or so. Actually, it was about 2 weeks ago when I witnessed this.
Yeah.
And what was it? I called you about like a week ago and told you that, hey, this happened, and this is just not normal.
No, it's not.
And we got all these storms, and there's homeless. The homelessness is now left LA, and they have places all the way up to 101, all the way through Santa Barbara here. And it's like a good portion of our fires that our fire department had to respond to over the past 2 years alone is fires that broke out from encampment fires from the homeless along
Right.
the 101 right through the middle of town here.
Right.
And that was literally 90, and it was happening every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. But there's more going on here. I think they're literally wanting to destroy America from within, and they're trying to get as many bad elements in here, and like the whole thing of them giving all the homeless people drugs and stuff now, like in San Francisco and places like that.
Yeah.
They're going to wait until like there's a real need for dependency on it, and they're going to cut it off.
Yeah.
And guess what's going to happen about 24 to 48 hours after that? These people are going to go psycho. It's going to be like a zombie apocalypse.
Yep.
So this is just all part of a plan that's happening. And it's been designed out. They actually said they were going to destroy America from the inside out. And I just want all my, my family and disaster warnings family. Yeah, earthquakes, volcanoes, tornadoes, all that stuff's happening.
Yeah.
But there's so much more happening that's more human-based that we really also need to pay attention to.
I agree. I'm in total agreement with you. I just find it reprehensible that they're doing this. When I tried to verify about the buses and stuff, they blew me off, denying it happening and everything else. Oh, you're wrong. And I said, I'm an emergency manager. I have near proof of the buses. I don't have pictures, but I have near proof that it's happening. And yet you're denying it? No comment. And I'm going, okay, whatever. It's incredible. Hurricane Heather says, love you, Sage. Everybody, this is for those people.
Sister Heather, hope everything's going good up there. I know y'all are getting snow, but your lake's almost full.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Everybody loves hearing from you, Sage Pup. For those people that have just joined us, this is my dear friend Sage Pup. At first, he was just a friend of our program. He and I have gotten to know each other over several years now, and he's another one of my dear friends that I cherish over in the Santa Barbara area. And I've got pictures up right now of Santa Barbara up on the show right now, giving people a glimpse of what Santa Barbara looks like. I don't have pictures of downtown Santa Barbara necessarily, but I've got an overlook over the harbor there. I've got an overlook of the Santa Barbara Valley.
Right.
It's a beautiful
It's
town.
all kind of cloudy but sunshiny rays here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all been like that for about maybe an hour now. It's been really nice.
Gosh, I wish I was there. I love Santa Barbara. I do. I've loved Santa Barbara from the first time my parents brought us over there. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous town. Just absolutely gorgeous.
I only came here for a week vacation in '98.
And then you stayed.
Well, it's a working vacation.
Yeah.
So it's this was my first experience to California with Santa Barbara, and all my friends that are locals here are like, no, you're not allowed to leave.
I love it. I love it.
So,
Oh, gosh. That's fun. That's fun. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the storms and such that have been pounding the coast? Because I'm going to show some pictures here in just a minute of what is actually going on.
Well, yeah, we're completely saturated here. Like, all of our, like, normal, even during our regular winters, can saturate so much and still be okay. We are on a level of oversaturation where, like the hill that's over Amy, my girlfriend's house, okay, that's we call it TV Hill, is slumped down every day for the past like month, to the point where we're sitting there watching it, waiting for this hillside to come down. Now it's going to hit the apartment complex before it hits Amy's house, but is this hillside like about to come down? And it looks like it, and all we need is another couple more storms. And this is one little spot of Santa Barbara where if you drive anywhere and everywhere around town, including where I live on the backside of the mountain now, and I'm watching all this stuff kind of slowly slump down. This is massive landslide stuff, even where areas there's not scar burns.
Right.
So this is like really like they got massive boulders coming down and knocking out roads and stuff like that, and a lot of this stuff you gotta look on Hat or the local reporting news to even find out that this is happening. And but yeah, the whole area, all of California right now is getting pounded, like hard. And but the Southern California, Central and Southern California is not used to this. Even on our regular winters, we don't get this much so regularly, so hard, so all the time. And it comes down. Last night, it woke me up around 2 o'clock this morning. It sounded like a herd of buffaloes going across my rooftop. And I was like, what the? And I looked out the window and it was hailing. But this was like penny-sized hail everywhere. It lasted for about a minute, and then it was over, and then the winds came again, and the rain. Oh my God, it didn't stop for hours. It was like a monsoon rain, and this has been going on weekly.
Yeah.
For a couple of months now. We're not used to it here. You know that song, "It Never Rains in Southern California"?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, well, I know that now.
Yeah, I've got a slide up here saying this bomb cyclone tore across the San Francisco Bay Area yesterday, passing directly over the city, kicking up dangerous winds. Now, what it doesn't say is those dangerous winds were at 70 and 80 miles per hour.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, easily. As a matter of fact, did you know we had a tornado here in Central California over the past few days? Like the last storm or so, it created a tornado in the Central Valley.
I've got it up right now.
well, yeah, you should look it up. It's like a lot of crazy weather happening here. It's like, I don't know if it's the Ice Age or if it's just Mother Nature just getting pissed off at whatever, you know. But this is not normal. And yeah, we flood. My backyard has been a lake for like a month now.
Yeah.
And it's normally a dry thing with weeds here and there.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a lake.
Yeah.
I should throw fish in it and go fishing.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go.
So
those people that know me over my years in San Diego know that I had a pickup truck with a campus shell in the back of it, and all my police gear, change of clothes, fishing gear, all the time was in there. And I was accused of stopping at puddles in the road with my fishing gear to see if there's fish in that puddle. I never stopped on the road to fish off the road, but I certainly did stop when I saw puddles off in the boondocks, and I stopped to fish. And yes, I'd caught fish out of these small ponds and small lakes and such. Yes, I was a fisherman to beat the band. Unreal.
Oh yeah. Well, fishing is like for people who don't fish, they just don't get it.
Yeah.
For people who like to fish, this is something that it's it's rewarding in
Yeah.
every way, and even on your bad days.
Yeah.
So,
I could tell you stories.
now, Ron, I got some questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, and I brought this up in maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago in chat. And there was that other guy who you talk to often on the phone. I can't remember his name right now, but and I asked the question, like, with mass water rush and ice melt and everything going into these dried out many years aquifers and underground whatnot, what does that do to help slip and slide with the tectonics, plate tectonics and stuff like that? And how much of an effect does this really have on what's happening with the earthquake situation for the West Coast and stuff like that?
When the water gets in these faults, I'm going to talk about 3 major faults in California. 2 of them up in San Francisco, and one that we all know and love that runs from Northern California all the way down into northern Mexico, the San Andreas Fault. The other ones are the Hayward Fault and the Calaveras Fault. When water like this, like we've had happen, okay, water seeps into the earth, as we all know. As it gets deep within the fault zone itself, it acts like grease down inside the fault. Water helps liquefy the fault. It helps liquefy all the junk, the debris, the sand, the biological material that's holding the fault in place. It helps liquefy that. And when that happens, the fault slips. We have an earthquake. Okay? That's exactly what I see happening. I have not seen it yet in the past couple weeks, the past month, that Los Angeles and Santa Barbara and San Francisco area have got pounded. I have not seen it in Oregon or Washington yet, but I have a feeling it's coming. All that water's going somewhere. The soil, the topsoil is saturated, okay? And
Right.
that from there, that water goes further down. Okay? Anything could happen. Anything could happen.
Not only do I agree, Ron, that's one of my big concerns is is this like allowing the mud and the clay and everything to expand and retract to the point where it's causing more lubrication for the fault lines to do something that people need to be aware of.
Right. I think what may happen, and this is just a theory of mine, I have nothing to substantiate what I'm thinking right now that I'm going to tell everybody, but what happens when it heats up? Within the next few days, the next 4 or 5 weeks, when the soil heats up and the rain goes away, it's going to heat up the plates. We've already seen the solar storms, we've seen the CMEs, we've seen the planetary alignments, and those planetary alignments cause electromagnetic heating. And that electromagnetic heating goes into the fault areas, the plates. And it heats up the plates, it heats up the faults, and it also makes them easier to move. As that heats up, it's heating up all that gunk and grime that's holding the plates together. That gunk and grime, the sand, earth, and biological materials, turns into a greasy-like substance and makes it easier for those faults to slide.
Right.
It's going to heat up between the water that's down there, and then when the heat starts coming, I think that's when the earthquakes are going to get nailed. We're going to get nailed in Southern California, well, all up and down the west coast of the United States, everywhere.
Right. here in Santa Barbara, when you go to West Beach, there's a 50-foot cliff that kind of, it's actually kind of across the whole Santa Barbara, but it's very defined on West Beach, or Ledbetter Beach. And the geologists and the scientists and everybody who's looked at it all completely agree that about 1,200 years ago, this whole section of Earth that was below the ocean floor at one just recently, like, 1,500 years ago, they guess, some of them say 2,000 years ago, actually lifted up 50 feet out of the ground.
Right.
And this section of Ledbetter Beach, you can literally walk up to the cliffside and scrape it, and shells that look like they were just formed yesterday just fall out of the hillside. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they know that this all happened at once. And
Right.
I think that California has a much larger earthquake, maybe 2 or 3. They're going to set each other off kind of stuff. And it's going to be sooner than later. It's not going to maybe happen tonight or tomorrow. It might happen in August or December of next year or something. But when it does happen, it's going to be really big.
Yeah.
Something that lifts 50 feet out of the ocean and starts a hillside is not your normal size earthquake.
Right. I'm showing now a picture. It's actually up on the as a slide on the program right now. It's a picture of West Beach. Further down the beach here is that bluff area that Sage Pup is talking about. I couldn't find a picture of the bluff area, but this is West Beach over there in the Santa Barbara area.
Yeah, that little cliff that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can go over there, and there's really soft sand pockets in it and everything. You can crunch them down and pull shells look like they were just made yesterday.
That's great.
And, it's like it's a cool place if you want to become a beginner surfer. Just look out for the sharks.
Let's go. Come on. I've been waiting. I haven't surfed in years. I would love to go back and surf. Oh gosh, give me a surfboard. I'm gone.
Rod, the only place that I care to go surfing is on the Big Island of Hawaii on Hapuna Beach, and you don't need a surf suit. The water is like bath water,
Yep.
and there's very few sharks, and you can learn how to surf all you want, and it's nice, fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, don't go to Shark Beach in Charleston.
No. No way. I surfed quite a bit in San Diego. I surfed in Carlsbad. I surfed in Oceanside. I surfed several beaches in Encinitas. I surfed La Jolla. I surfed that Blacks Beach that we talked about the other day that collapsed. And then about a week ago, when we had a bunch of undocumented people trying to get into the United States at Blacks Beach during a huge storm, and 8 people died trying to get off those boats onto the beach. Unfortunately, 8 people died. It's the worst marine disaster in San Diego history. 8 people died right there off of Blacks Beach. All they had were 2 boats. These 2 little, I can't say little, but they were like whale boats that the United States Navy uses to go between other boats or from a major ship to shore to a harbor to let.
You mean our whale boats?
Yeah, our whale boats.
Yeah.
And they had one whale boat was packed with 21 people, another one had 11.
When I was in the Navy, part of my duty was to make sure all the whale boats on the ship was always ready to go and oiled and cleaned and had updated gear.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a beach bum. My dad was in the Navy, and when we were in San Diego, he was just a reservist, but he spent, I think, 8 years active duty. He got out and went to reserve duty, and he spent a total of 35 years in the United States Navy. We I know when I was a little boy living in Idaho, he used to once a year have to go do a month-long gig with the Navy. And so he'd hitchhike from southeastern Idaho to San Diego, and then he'd get board his ship and they'd leave and go off wherever they went to for a month, and then he'd come back and tell us all sorts of stories, and he had little trinkets that he bought for us and stuff. But that's what my dad did on a reserve basis. When we moved to San Diego, let me go back a little bit. I was born in Idaho. Okay, so we lived in Idaho, and my dad hitchhiked back and forth between San Diego. Then we lived in North Dakota. In North Dakota, my dad was able to spend time each month at a Navy Reserve place in North Dakota. Yeah, they had Navy Reserve people in North Dakota, and they had duty for them there. Then we moved to San Diego. Five and a half years in North Dakota in Fargo. Then we moved to San Diego, and I was there for 27 years, 27 and a half years. But, you know, my dad served in the Navy there most of the time, either between Naval Station San Diego, Coronado, which is North Island Naval Air Station, or what's it called? It's now a Marine Corps Air Station, Miramar, where Top Gun used to be. And anyway, I've told some stories about this before. I kind of found funny helping my dad bring stuff to Miramar. It was then an air station for the Navy. Then the Navy turned it over to the Marine Corps. But I remember helping my dad bring food and stuff that he had cooked at our home, and he brought it to the messes over on Miramar. And one time I even escorted him onto the base. He didn't need my escort. He had a base sticker. He got it on and off the base himself. But I had a bunch of food in my police car. I stopped at the house for a few minutes, and I helped him take food to Miramar and drop it off. It was incredible. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, when I was in the Navy in the 90s, living in Charleston, South Carolina, about once or twice a month, you'd have like all the housewives that lived on base whose husbands were serving, or husbands that lived on base whose wives were serving, etc., etc. And you can go over to the mess, and there'd be like all this home-cooked food everywhere.
Yeah.
And
true.
It was always nice. It was a good change, and I know that all the sailors and everybody who experienced that, and the food would go so fast. So depending on what your lunch hour was, if you didn't get there in time, you didn't get anything. You know what I'm saying? You have to get eaten up really fast.
Yeah.
But that's one of those little things that I know the guys in the military appreciate, is the little things like that makes life better.
My dad really loved the military. He loved the Navy. He would not have served as long as he did if he didn't. I can't get over helping the Navy people. And I was a police officer. I was assigned duty around the Naval Station San Diego, which is 32nd Street in San Diego. But I was on and off the base, checking this and checking that for the government. They had naval housing off the base. We went there. We served many different occasions. We'd get assigned to different places and do things. But that's what my dad did. He loved the Navy, and he helped serve in the Navy. He would dedicate himself for 1 month a year, and once a weekend during a month. He did that.
Right.
He loved it.
Right. My dad was Vietnam vet, Air Force.
Yeah.
And up until the day he died, and that was just over the past few years, he was all about, what can we do? Well, let's make it. So I was raised in a very hardcore Christian, military, little podunk town in Tennessee, and everybody had to have 4 jobs. Nothing was for free. You had to work for it. You had to earn respect. Respect wasn't just freely given, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm looking at the world today, and it's such a mess. But one thing that's really keeps my faith in humanity and it all is seeing. It's not just the military, it's their families or the people who love these people that never made it into the military and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great respect to be there. And so, like, my situation, it was horrible. I was up for re-enlistment, and I had a really bad car wreck, and my back was messed up, my legs were crushed. So I got medically discharged, and I wanted to be there for life. But
Right.
since then, there's been a part of my soul that's always still been there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just happens when you're military. That's one of those things that you cannot take away from somebody.
Right.
And it's a very important part of our country being what it is today.
Yeah.
And
True.
so thank you, your dad. Thank you for your services. You know, I try to talk to my dad on occasion. He's always like, "Dad, I'm in heaven. Leave me alone." I'll talk to you when you get here.
That's my dad. That's exactly my dad too. We buried him. He died December 15th, 2016, and I know he's waiting for us. I know he and my mother and others of our family are preparing. Well, all of our families that have passed on, they're preparing a place for us. I can't wait to get there.
Oh yeah, that's all there.
Yeah.
So Ron, I love you, my friend, and my brother, and the EMA family, and emergency management, and all you guys keep up the awesome work, because believe it or not, y'all are doing a great service to not just America, but to the world itself.
I believe that. Thank you.
I love you all, and God bless. Stay safe. Ron, go on with your show.
All right.
And I will talk to you in a few days. And
You got
keep
it.
up with that stuff I sent you.
I will. I'll do that. Thanks so much,
Okay.
brother. Appreciate you.
I love you. Ciao.
Love you too. Bye. Guys, that was Sage Pup here on the Emergency Management Associates Network. Sage Pup, like I said earlier, has been a very dear friend of mine. He was a friend of the program. Before that, still is. I asked him to come on this show a couple weeks ago when we last talked, and I'm so thankful that he was able to call in today to get on the show and talk with us. I wanted him first to explain what had happened a week or two ago with those people that were brought in on buses from the border. He physically saw it. I tried to confirm it, and San Diego would deny it. Unreal. And that's how that was. Then with all this other weather that he and I talked about before, I wanted you to hear someone that was there that was experiencing it. And I know Heather's experienced it. Scooter Pie and many others have experienced these storms. I haven't been in California for a very long time. I can only live through you guys. Okay? I wanted Sage Pup to come on the air to tell everybody how it is. Rarely do we ever get first-hand knowledge of what is going on. So Sage Pup brought us up to date with the storms. And we have another storm coming in, guys. Another Pineapple Express. Okay? It's coming in off the Central Pacific just east of Hawaii. Okay? It's coming in. It's going to hit California. I promise you, it's going to lambaste California. The main part of it, I believe, is going to hit in Northern California, and then it's going to lambaste south of there and north of there up into Washington and Oregon and into British Columbia, Canada. So all of you are going to get hit with another storm, unfortunately. It's never ending right now. These storms coming in off the Pacific are never ending. I'm hoping that this will simmer down in the days and weeks to come. Because no one on the earth here on the west coast of the United States isn't going to handle much more. The earth is saturated, okay? It's flooded. Now, it's not just California. It's not just California. Let me show you what's going on in Arizona. There's a flood warning ongoing. This was put up hours ago in Arizona. It says 3 hours ago, but I've had it for at least that long. Okay? They've got flood warning going on, and rightly so with what is going on there. Let me show you pictures of what is actually happening in Arizona. Yes, we're going to talk about earthquakes in a few minutes. Okay? We're going to talk about Southern California earthquakes. Before that, we're going to talk about what has been going on worldwide. Okay? There's a lot of earthquakes. Nearly a major earthquake. It came out as a 6.8 that hit down in San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina today. Came out as a 6.8. They've downgraded it to 6.5. And I think it was, this time, a 6.5. I think. I will do more digging into it tonight, and I'll bring that more information into you tomorrow about this. But right now, let's go have a look at what is going on in Arizona. Okay? As you see, this is a construction site. Look to the far side of this construction site, guys. Okay? It's not just a construction site. Okay? It's flooded. It's flooded. This is just outside of Phoenix. Just outside of Phoenix. The whole area is flooded. Okay? It couldn't almost get any worse. Let me show you another one here. Okay? I'm sorry I didn't have these fitted for this program yet, but I wanted to get Sage Pup on the air. I didn't want to fiddle with one and not the other. So anyway, this is what we're seeing all through Arizona. It's not just around Phoenix, it's happening everywhere. All that rain that's coming from the west coast is being drawn east. And in this case, rain hitting San Diego. Bunches of rain, swamping rain, hit San Diego, and that rain is also going across to Arizona. The same thing is happening with all that rain and storms hitting Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and Oregon and Washington. It's all headed east. Salt Lake City's gotten snow from it. The mountains around east of Salt Lake have snow in them. Up to 15 feet of snow in areas around east of Salt Lake. Incredible. It's a skier's paradise. In some cases, it's a dangerous paradise. There are avalanches happening outside of Salt Lake City near the ski resorts that there's so much snow. They haven't seen that kind of snow in a very long time, if ever. But here in Arizona, it's been dry, extremely dry. We've talked about how dry it's been. Okay? Now, the streams are rivers. The streams have become rivers. Honestly, it's insane. Look at this. This was a construction site here. Look at that river here. It's wild. It's wild. I got some of these, well, I got most of these pictures from Rob, who is also one of our mods here. Unreal, guys. This is just unreal. Look at this. This is the one side of the construction site from a distance. You can see the water on the far side of the construction site here. It's crazy. This is almost lunacy. They've gotten so much weather there. It's flooding, and it's continuing. Okay? As I put this up earlier, a bomb cyclone tore across San Francisco Bay on Tuesday yesterday, passing directly over the city, kicking up dangerous winds. Winds, guys, in California, including Santa Barbara, were 70 to 80 miles per hour. Los Angeles, over in just east of Los Angeles, in the San Bernardino Mountains, 70 to 80 miles an hour. All over the eastern side of the major cities, it was 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. Okay? Nearly 200,000 households had the power knocked out. The winds toppled trees, knocked over cars, toppled trees into cars. Homes and roads were toppled by the trees. Okay? While the winds calmed today, during the morning hours, scattered showers are in the forecast for later today, and then after that, cool, dry conditions are expected through the weekend. But as Sage Pup said, look out for next week. And I just put up that storm warning for next week. Another storm's coming in next week. It's almost never ending. At least through this weekend, maybe the ground will have a chance to dry out a little bit before the next storm comes in. But all of you along the west coast of the United States, batten down the hatches. Okay? Batten down the hatches. You're going to get hit with another bad, horribly bad storm. Okay? Over in Los Angeles, we showed you this. The damage from the tornado that ripped through Los Angeles County injured one person last night. Incredible tornado. I showed you this. That was a tornado coming into that area. Crazy. Just insane. Totally insane. Okay? Anyway, that's what happened yesterday. It's been happening for about 2 weeks now, maybe a little bit longer. The biggest story we have for you tonight is a story that hit over in Argentina, San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. This came in as a 6.8 earthquake this morning. They downgraded almost immediately to a 6.7 now, then down to a 6.5, and that's what it's registered at now. This is just barely on the eastern side of the Andes Mountains in Argentina. Just barely on the eastern side of the Andes Mountains in Argentina. I know for a fact that thousands of people felt this earthquake. It hit on land. Okay? On the eastern side of the Andes Mountains, they have farms and ranches. They call it the Pampas. Argentina calls it the Pampas. Okay? They have a lot of work to do now. Okay? We don't have any injury totals or casualty figures yet. I know for a fact there's going to be damages because of the strength of this quake. A 6.5 is considered a very strong earthquake. 5.0 to 5.9 is considered to be a large earthquake. 5.5 to 5.9, very large earthquake. This 6.0, 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. That's what this was. 7.0 to 10 are considered catastrophic major earthquakes. Catastrophic major earthquakes. Now, with that said, I have personally seen during the past 20, maybe 30 years, we've seen a lot stronger earthquakes hit here. Okay? According to the U.S. Geological Survey, okay, among the largest earthquakes since 1900, several occurred in South America, with the largest being a 9.5 rating quake, devastating parts of Chile in 1960. Another earthquake happened off the coast of Ecuador, near Esmeraldas on January 31st, 1906 with a magnitude 8.8. Another hit over near Calamas, Chile, and in the area, I'm trying to think of the name of the town, Iquique, Ique, Ique, Iquique, Chile. That had an 8.0 magnitude. This happened just about 2005. Iquique, Chile. Incredibly strong earthquake. We have seen 5s and 6s and even some 7s pass by here in the past. Today, a 6.5 has hit over in San Antonio de los Cobres, and it's going to be a devastating quake. I can promise everybody. I hope that we're praying for those good people in Argentina tonight. Huge earthquake that hit there. Huge monster quake. I feel for them. Okay? I totally feel for them. Now, I'm going to take you on a tour of the world right now. Okay? I was just going to show you pictures of some of the other quakes, but I'm going to take you on a tour really quick around the world. I hope you guys will bear with me. I'm going to use the U.S. Geological Survey map. Okay? If they'll let me do it. Knowing how that goes. Okay? This is the San Francisco Bay Area. Let me just zoom in here really quick. Just east of the San Francisco Bay Area, Moraga, California, a 1.2 tremor today. East of this, and this one is on the Calaveras Fault here. This is a 1.4 magnitude tremor here. Okay? This is 10 kilometers east-northeast of Black Hawk, California. Okay? Just south of there. Just south of San Francisco Bay. Again, we got another earthquake there today. A 2.3 minor quake at 7 trees. 7 trees. We've been getting 2.3s, 2.5s, 3.2s, 3.5s here at 7 trees. Folks, I believe that this will turn into a larger quake very shortly. Okay? Heaven forbid this earthquake hits. This one is on the Hayward Fault. This could be, honestly, if it hits like I believe it will, this could be a 6.5 to 7.5 earthquake. I've seen it happen in this area before. Okay? South of there, in Tres Pinos, we had a 5.1 a couple years ago. That was devastating because it hit at rush hour. There was a major fire at an oil refinery there. A pipe broke with a shaking. Who knows what will happen when a major or even a large earthquake hits here in 7 trees. Okay? Everybody, I don't care where you are in the world, you're going to be hit with earthquakes. That we can promise you. Okay? That we can promise you. Now, I'm going to come back to California in a few minutes. Okay? I'm going to talk about that earthquake in the Blanco Fracture Zone in the Cascadia Subduction Zone region in just a few minutes. But, again, over in South America, just on the border of Chile and Argentina, San Antonio de los Cobres got hit with a 6.5 today. That's the largest earthquake there. Okay? Just north of New Zealand. This is in the Kermadec Island region. For those of you that don't know the Kermadec Islands, these small islands north of New Zealand are a bird sanctuary. The islands are not fit for human habitation. The only way you can get in there is with a small boat when the ocean is behaving. If it's big waves, you're not going to get into those islands. It's too dangerous between the rocks and the coral and everything else. They're too dangerous. It's a bird sanctuary area. Okay? Today we had a 5.5 earthquake there. That's a very large earthquake, but it's a bird sanctuary. Nobody got injured there. Now, another thing right here, and the U.S. Geological Survey is not even talking about it. This area over here in the southeastern part of Australia got hit by a 1.7 tremor today. Okay, I can show you pictures of it on the EMSC map. 1.7 tremor hit here in southeastern Argentina, or Australia, I'm sorry, Australia here. USGS is not even doing it justice to the earthquakes that hit here in Indonesia. Okay, they're showing a 4.5 here in Aveyah, Indonesia. Okay, that was only 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Further west, this is a large 5.1 here in Mamir, Indonesia. This is east of Java. Okay, there's Java. This is east of Java. This is out in the open ocean, just off the coast of these small, tiny islands here. If anybody felt it, they felt some jarring. Okay, if there's anybody here on these islands, they felt some jarring going on. I believe the majority of the shaking from this 5.1 earthquake was absorbed by the seawater here. Okay, this was 105 kilometers east-southeast of Mamir, Indonesia. Okay, that was there. Let's further go north and west here. Over here in the Philippines, we had a 4.8 earthquake. 4.8 earthquake here off the southern end of this island here, Mindanao Island. Okay, this is a 4.8. This is a moderate earthquake, and it's larger than a 4.5 naturally. Okay, so it could have done some damage here. It's right along the shore here. It could have done some damage if people were living here. Now, I don't know if anybody even lives here. They might. Okay, they might just be living here. It looks like they do. Okay, they may have felt some shaking, books falling off of shelves, pictures falling off of walls. A 5.0 earthquake is 20 times that, and that would be devastating to these areas. These communities do not have earthquake standards. They have huts, they have homes. Some of them just barely homes. When they have these dangerous earthquakes, they lose everything. I've seen it time and time again. Okay? They've had devastating earthquakes there in Mindanao, Philippines. We had an earthquake over here in Taiwan yesterday. Okay? This is an earthquake today. We had a 5.0 near Hualien City. This earthquake is just south and west of it. Okay? This is a 4.8 magnitude earthquake here. I'm sorry, 4.2. This is a 4.2. Okay? There was some shaking here. I believe this was an aftershock of the 5.3 earthquake that hit over here in Hualien City. Okay? Major damage there. It was only a 5.3, there was major damage there. Okay? Buildings swayed and the smaller buildings crumbled. There was some damage. Okay? That's over in Taiwan yesterday and today. We go north, just south of the main islands of Japan. This is in the Ryukyu Islands of Japan. This is a 4.6 moderate earthquake, 35 kilometers deep, a fairly shallow earthquake. We go north. This is just southeast of Honshu. Southeast of Honshu. This is another 4.2 here. Okay? In the island area, just offshore of Honshu. The ocean waters absorbed the strength of that quake. We go north, just off the northeast side of Honshu here. This is another 4.3. However, look at this. Look at this. This was a 5.6. That 4.3 was an aftershock of this 5.6. This was also 35 kilometers deep, a shallow quake. Okay? Nobody was hurt by this quake. It was off in the Pacific Ocean here. Nobody was hurt by this quake, and they got lucky. Okay? They don't always get lucky, guys. They don't. Let us go over here to the Middle East. Yesterday we told you about an earthquake over here in Afghanistan. Now we've had another 5.9 here in Tajikistan. This 5.9 is an aftershock from yesterday's 6.5 here in Afghanistan. People felt that earthquake yesterday all the way down to India, all the way south and east into India. Okay? All over Iran and Iraq, they felt it. Okay? That whole area. This was a 5.9, almost equally as dangerous as a 6.5 from yesterday. There's going to be injuries, there's going to be casualties from these two quakes. When we have those 6.5 earthquakes, I believe that anything 6.5 and greater is going to cause aftershocks for weeks, if not months, maybe years afterwards. We've seen that happen over in Puerto Rico. We've seen it happen in Alaska and other places in the world. So we are going to continue to see earthquakes. They could be major earthquakes. They could be smaller than that. Okay? There's about a 15% chance of a lot larger earthquake in this area. We've seen this area get hit by fours a lot. A lot of fours. Those are moderate earthquakes. These are dangerous earthquakes. This 5.9 today is a very dangerous quake. But again, people that live here have huts, literally. Some of them live in caves up here in the mountains. This is the western side of the Himalaya region. Okay? That's what happens there. Okay? It's the western side of that huge earthquake fault. Okay? It's the edge of the plate here. Okay? You see the edge of the plate here. The Himalayas here. As that edge of the plate goes northwest here, that's what caused this earthquake today. Further west, this is another 5.1 over here in Iran. Southern Iran has gotten hit further south here, about 150 miles further south. They've been hit with 5s and 5.1s for a long time. Now over here, we get a 5.1 here. Okay? Unreal. Now, USGS is up here. They're showing us a 4.1 earthquake here in Turkey. Well, guess what? There were over 100 earthquakes here in Turkey today. USGS is not showing but one. I find that appalling. Okay? Let me show you something here. I find it appalling that this agency, the preeminent seismic agency of the world, is not even showing these quakes. Okay? They show one. They show one. Let me show you something. You should find this astounding. Look at this, guys. 10 plus to the northeast, 100 or 10 plus to the northwest, and 10 plus over along the eastern or western coast of Turkey, and 100 plus in the area that was devastated by that major earthquake that hit here. An 8.5, 9.0 earthquake. Okay? 100 plus earthquakes now. and USGS shows us 1. I am more than aggravated about that. Okay? USGS not showing us anything throughout Turkey. Nothing. We know for a fact what is going on. Then we come over here to Greece. Okay? I want to show you this. Look what we actually see in Western Turkey and over here in Greece. Earthquakes all over Greece. Over in Crete, over just north of Crete, we have a 1.90 here in the Mediterranean Sea, just north of Crete. Okay? Over here off the western coast of Turkey, these are 1.5s, 1.9s, 2.0s. That's all those earthquakes are here. Okay? That's all these earthquakes are here. All along the eastern or western side of Turkey here. They're just minor tremors, basically. All throughout this whole region here. They're just minor tremors. We go into Greece, up here in northern Greece. Okay? I want to show you this. Look at the earthquake spread there. It said 10 plus there in northern Greece. They're spread out. They're totally spread out. Well, guess what? Just a second. I've got some earthquakes to show you here. I'm going to have to reboot this device. All of a sudden the device doesn't want to work. But all through this area, guess what? There are earthquakes. There's earthquakes over here in Romania here. Okay? We just got through having a 5.1 here in Romania. A couple weeks ago we had another 5.1 here. Before that we had a 5.0. They've had 3 large earthquakes in this region in Romania the last 3 weeks. Okay? Over here in Croatia, we've had some earthquakes in Croatia as well. But again, this agency doesn't want to talk about it. Okay? Unreal. We've got 25 earthquakes over here in Italy. 25 earthquakes here in Italy. Central Italy right here is where the most of them are. Marcia, Italy area. Tuscany. These are also 1.9, 1.5, 1.8, 2.5, 2.8 earthquakes. Okay? We just got through having a 5.6 here. A 5.6 here last week. We're still having a lot of earthquakes here. These earthquakes that are hitting here are probably aftershocks of that large earthquake. We knew that larger earthquake was going to hit because we had those many swarms here. Now the swarms are continuing for a different reason. Those are aftershocks trying to settle the earth back the way it was before this earthquake storm started. Okay? Over here in Sicily we have 2 earthquakes here. Not a big deal. The only big deal is over here near Mount Etna and Stromboli, volcano islands off the coast of Sicily and Italy area. Those volcanoes are still sputtering. Okay? We don't have major eruptions happening, but those volcanoes are still sputtering here. Okay? Unreal. Stromboli and Etna are still going. Okay? Then, okay, we move into France. This earthquake here. This is a 4.2 in France. Ladies and gentlemen, France has not seen even a moderate earthquake in a long time. This is a 4.2 here. Okay? Usually what we've seen here are 1.0s, 2.5s, and such like that. This is a moderate earthquake in the northwestern plains of France. Okay? Just below this mountain range of the Alps. This is also the Craton edge, the edge of the plate here. The Appalachian, or not Appalachian, I'm sorry, the Alp Mountains here are here for a reason. Okay? Yes, we're getting earthquakes here and now. We've had a 4.5. That, I believe, is going to continue here. We've had earthquakes going up here into Germany. Okay? Switzerland. I think that is also going to continue. Let me see if my other device is ready to go here and see if we can get back into it. I don't know why my device does that sometimes, but when it does, it messes things up. Oh gosh, what's it doing now? Let me see if I can bring this map back up here. Yes, I just did. Okay. Okay, look at that. 20 plus earthquakes in central Italy. Just like I pointed out, we had 2 earthquakes down in southern Italy over here near Sicily here. Okay, just like I said. Okay, and it's going to continue here. Okay, you can see earthquakes over here in northern Italy and in the Alps here. Okay, like I said, we have that 4.2 over here in France. This is going to continue. I don't believe it's over. Okay, I don't believe it's over. That we had a 4.0 and a 4.2 in that region. Okay, here's a 4.4 there. We had a 4.2, 4.0, and a 4.4. Okay, then we go down here to Brittany, France. Okay, Brittany, France. We have a 2.3 there. Brittany, France. Okay, then down in Spain, southern Spain, we have these earthquakes. Folks, this isn't bad. 1.9s, 2.2 earthquakes. But going down here, oh, you stupid thing. And bring the map back up. Going over here, just east of the Strait of Gibraltar, we have these earthquakes here. Notice that earthquake fault here. That's the reason these earthquakes are happening. Now, the northernmost one here, just south, oh, don't tell me. Oh, yeah. Okay, I've got it back. Okay, this is a 1.7. Notice it's right by the fault. Down here we have 3 more here. Okay, there's a 2.7. Right next to it is a 2.1. Over here near Morocco right here, we have another quake. Okay. This one is, come on. This one is a 2.7. This one is a 2.7 here. Now, given that, this area here is going to continue to shake. About 6 months ago, we had a 5.1 here. We've had swarms here for quite some time. With these swarms continuing, we may see another 5 here. We might see another 5 here. Now, Let's move into the rest of England, or rest of Europe, I should say. Over here, just south of Portugal, northwest of the Strait of Gibraltar. This is a 2.30. Okay, northwest of the Strait of Gibraltar here. Then we go back out north of here. Okay, we go north of England. Over here in the eastern North Sea. Okay, England is right over here. That's England. This is the East Northern Sea. This is a 1.8. 1.8 just southwest of Norway. What do we have going up here in Scandinavia? This is a 1.0. Okay, south of there. This is a 1.2. This is in southern Norway, southeastern Norway. Over here, oh, the map is messing up a little bit. This is a 1.6. This is just north of Göteborg or Gothenburg, Sweden. Okay, that's a 1.6. Then we move east. Okay, this happens to be in Västra Jutland. Västra Jutland. That's a 2.1. Okay, that's a 2.1. We go north. Now this is in a town that I used to live in Sweden. This is one of the reasons I'm showing it to you. Örebro, Sweden. I lived there. Some of my extended family lives and still in Örebro. Okay, this is a 1.4 tremor there. We did not used to get earthquakes in Örebro. Okay, yesterday, just so you know, yesterday. This is Stockholm. We had 3 earthquakes here in Stockholm. A 2.1, a 2.3, and a 2.9. In and around Stockholm, Sweden. Okay, today, just off the coast of northern Sweden. Okay, this is in the Gulf of Bothnia. In the Gulf of Bothnia, this is a 1.40. Okay, this is just east of Umeå, Sweden. Umeå, Sweden. I used to live there as well. Unreal. We did not used to get seismic events happening here in Sweden. And yet, okay, this is over just east of Finland. This earthquake is actually in Russia. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name in Russian. Okay, but I believe it's Leningradskaya Oblast, Russia. It's a 1.8 magnitude earthquake here. That's a 1.8 magnitude earthquake, tremor. We did not used to get earthquakes there. I've lived there for 2.5 years. Not once did we have an earthquake there. Okay, incredible. Totally incredible. Guess what? We have 1 earthquake shown by USGS over here in France at 4.2. Yet there were 3 earthquakes there. They don't show any of those quakes over in Norway, Sweden, or that one in Russia. Okay? They don't show any earthquakes here in Iceland. Well, guess what? There's 10 plus earthquakes in Iceland. Okay? and north of there. I want to show you this. This is in Svalbard. This is in Svalbard. This is a 1.8 magnitude tremor here. Storefjorden Frier Svalbard, a 1.8 magnitude tremor there. We've had 5.0s up here in Svalbard before. Now I'm coming back to the United States here. I'm going over to Canada. This is eastern Quebec, Canada. We have a 3.63 here. A 3.63 magnitude earthquake in northeastern Quebec province, Canada. Again, why are we having these earthquakes in the eastern part of Canada and the eastern United States? We told you before, this great big huge plate, we call the Atlantic Ocean, don't we? Well, guess what? The Atlantic plate is pushing the North American plate south-southwest. That's why we get these earthquakes. Why is USGS not showing this earthquake in Canada? I have no clue. But they're not. They're not. It's like they don't give a flying rat's butt. Now, we have two minor events here. Okay? This one is in Oklahoma. It's just a 1.5 alleged quarry blast. Woohoo! A quarry blast. Guys, SagePup was a moderator here on the other channel, and I'm making him a moderator now. So SagePup, you're now a moderator on this channel here. Thank you very much for your service. When SagePup and I earlier talked, he asked me if we'd be making him a moderator here again. Yes, we will. We did. SagePup, thank you for your service. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my brother. I appreciate that. Coming down here into southern Texas, Three Rivers, Texas. This is a 2.2 magnitude earthquake, a minor earthquake. Why did it happen? Can anybody tell me why they think it happened? You're kind of getting an idea now, aren't you? Well, guess what? Every one of these spots here, every one of these plots, these platforms, they are oil and gas platforms. Oil and gas platforms, every last one of them. Okay? Whether they presently have a pump and jack here, it's immaterial. There's still a drill point associated on these platforms. It doesn't matter whether they're currently pumping from that platform or not. There's still a drill point. Those drill points are man-made earthquake faults. I'm sorry, I'm drying out my throat. They're man-made earthquake faults. That is why there are earthquakes in this area. Okay? That's why these earthquakes are here. Look how close that earthquake was to this platform right there. Probably not even a mile away. These earthquakes will hit within 10 miles of one of the drill points. If it's 10 miles or less, the drill point is the cause of that quake. Okay? We've seen it happen before. You see all these places all throughout Texas. Okay? I don't know how many drill points or how many platforms they have. They're still pumping oil and gas in Texas, but it's probably more than is in Oklahoma. Oklahoma has over 586,000 platforms drilling for oil and gas in Oklahoma. We have oil and gas platforms in Kansas and in Nebraska. Okay, all over. That's why we get earthquakes there. Okay, it's literally all over the place. Also, folks, we have 82 thumbs up. I appreciate that very much so. We had over 190 thumbs up yesterday. We really appreciate it. Now, while I'm talking about yesterday for a minute, we had, after 2 hours after we came off the air last night, we had 778 people that viewed the channel. Well, guess what it was this evening before I came on the air again? Over 1,600 people had viewed last night's program. We have 570 subscribers to this channel. Over 1,600 views. Over 1,600 views on this channel with 500 subscribers. 570 subscribers. Please, folks, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. If you find yourself unsubscribed, and everybody should check at least once a week to make sure YouTube is not unsubscribe you, because they do it all the time. I have people telling me this about this all the time. Even Don Patoka, one of my mods, keeps getting unsubscribed. And he's been my friend, and he's been a moderator for both of my channels now for a very long time. And he gets unsubscribed. So everybody, guys, please check your subscriptions and make sure you're still subscribed. If you're not, please subscribe. And when you subscribe, please click on that bell icon. It's a notification icon. Click on that. When you do that, a drop-down menu of 3 items will come up. Click on ALL, all. That should get you notified whenever we come on the air. But, again, YouTube does not notify everybody, unfortunately. But again, I'm going to tell you, we usually come on between 6 and 7 o'clock, Monday through Friday. Occasionally, it's after 7 o'clock. If it's been a busy news day and things have happened, I come on the air after 7. There's been a time or two that I've come in at 8 o'clock. But I come on during the week, every evening, unless I'm sick or something. I want you to know that. I've got your best interests at heart. I'm trying to make sure you have the latest information that's going on to help save your lives from either earthquakes or tornadoes or hurricanes or blasts or shootings, whatever it is. We try to talk about it so you are aware of what's going on in your neck of the woods. Over here in New Mexico, this is a place called Watrous, New Mexico. We had a 2.5 magnitude earthquake that hit here. It's a minor earthquake. Why did this earthquake hit here in New Mexico? Look at where it's at. It's in the Rocky Mountains. This is in the Rocky Mountains, okay? The Rocky Mountains is a natural earthquake fault. It's the edge of the plate here. That's why that earthquake hit. Seismic energy is coming out of northern Canada and northeastern Alaska. That energy comes down through the Rocky Mountains. It makes its way through New Mexico here. Then it turns into southwestern Texas, and then it goes northeast again into Oklahoma. Then it makes a swath straight through Oklahoma all the way down here into the northern part of the, well, actually the center, I shouldn't say northern, but the center of the New Madrid Fault. Then it continues east here. It continues east, okay? It comes down here to Georgia area, okay? Why? Because this is the southern end of the Blue Ridge Mountains. This is the Eastern Continental Divide. Eastern Continental Divide. This is also the edge of the plate here. The edge of the North American plate. Then the seismic energy continues up through the edge of the plate here. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Goes up through Virginia and West Virginia. Goes north through New York, Washington, D.C., Massachusetts. goes up through Connecticut, Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, and up into Canada. You see that mountain range going up into Canada. That is the edge of the plate. The other land that's east of the edge of the plate, this is a deformed craton. A deformed craton. It might be land here, but it's also part of the Atlantic plate. Okay, it's part of the Atlantic plate. It's a deformed craton. Okay, that's why we get earthquakes here. And it happens all the time. USGS doesn't show it, unfortunately. Okay, now we're back in the United States. Over here in the Cascadia subduction region. This, folks, is an earthquake on the Blanco fracture zone. Notice where it's at. It's on the northwestern side of the Blanco fracture zone. Just north and west of here is the Juan de Fuca fault. It's the Juan de Fuca fault here. Okay? That Juan de Fuca fault continues up here. Okay? This is the Juan de Fuca fault. It continues up here. Continues north. It hooks up with the Cascadia subduction zone just here on the southernmost portion of Queen Charlotte Island, British Columbia. Then the Cascadia subduction zone continues down the perimeter of North America, just west of British Columbia, Canada, Washington State, Oregon, and it continues down here into Northern California here, where it unites at what we call the Triple Junction. The Triple Junction is, one, the Cascadia subduction zone, fault zone, and the Gorda Escarpment. You notice that line that runs away from California out into the Pacific? That straight line that runs west? That is called the Gorda Escarpment. That earthquake fault that connects to the land, that is the San Andreas Fault. But the junction of those three faults is called the Triple Junction. Okay? Now, for those of you that have not been here for a while, okay, or you may not have been here before, I want to make it very clear why we talk about this. We are expecting a major earthquake to hit over here off the northwestern shore of Washington and the southwestern shore of Vancouver Island, British Columbia. It's going to be a tremendously large quake, anywhere from an 8.0 to a 10.0, more than likely at least a 9.0. Okay? It's going to hit here. It's going to hit here in the Cascadia subduction zone region, possibly on the Cascadia subduction zone itself. It could hit out here just west of there on what they call the Juan de Fuca plate. The Juan de Fuca plate. When it happens, the shaking is going to last probably 5 to 10 minutes. Major shaking. Probably longer than anybody's ever seen an earthquake last. This hasn't happened for over 325 years. That was when the last Cascadia subduction zone earthquake hit. That seismic energy is not just going to stay here. That seismic energy is going to travel north, all the way up here off the coast of British Columbia, and into Alaska. Okay? It's going to follow the faults up here to Alaska. But the shaking is not going to end there. Excuse me, got the hiccups. The shaking's not going to end there. That shaking is going to go down the Cascadia subduction zone. It's going to go down here off the coast of Northern California. Scientists have said, and we have it on good authority, Scientists have said that the Cascadia megathrust earthquake, 9.0 energy up there, may trigger the San Andreas fault. They said there's like a 65 to 90% chance of it triggering the San Andreas fault. When it does, that energy is probably going to be 8.0 to 7.5. Still tremendous energy, up all the way down through California, down the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault skirts the coast down here, just off the coast of San Francisco Bay. So San Francisco is going to get hit as well. And you can see what happens after that. The San Andreas Fault continues south, doesn't it? It continues down just right next to Santa Barbara. Right next to Santa Barbara, huh? It skirts Monterey Bay there, and it goes all the way south here, okay, near Santa Barbara. It continues south just east of Los Angeles. So yes, Los Angeles is going to get hit. There are ancillary faults to the San Andreas. Okay? LA is going to get hit. All of California is going to get hit. Then the San Andreas Fault drops down east of San Diego, and it continues down into the Imperial Valley of California, the Salton Sea area. Okay? Down here, the San Andreas Fault skirts the eastern side of the Salton Sea. Then it goes underneath the Salton Sea over here. This is Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach. Okay? We're going to talk about Bombay Beach here in just a few minutes. Now, USGS has frozen this map again. They do this almost every day that we're using it. Okay? So far we've got lucky. Okay? I'm going to take it down here and I'm going to put it back up. So I continue showing you what is going to happen with the San Andreas Fault and why everyone needs to pay attention to this. Everyone needs this information. I'm telling you guys, it is pertinent. Everybody's lives depend on this information. Honestly. Okay? Let's go back down here to the Salton Sea. Over here on the northeastern side of the Salton Sea, we have a town called North Shore. North Shore Salton Sea. I'm going to show you a seismogram coming from the North Shore here. We've had some earthquakes that hit here today. We've definitely had earthquakes hit here in Bombay Beach that I just showed you here. Okay? We have had earthquakes over here on the western side here. This is called Salton City. Salton City right here. We've had earthquakes hit here today as well. We have had earthquakes hitting here in Calipatria here, just here on the southwestern side of the Salton Sea. I'm going to show you a good seismogram from Calipatria tonight. Okay? I'm going to show you an earthquake seismogram from here in the southwestern side of the Salton Sea here. I'm going to show you one down here in Imperial, the town of Imperial here. You can see they're showing an earthquake. They say this is Brawley. Well, guess what? Brawley got hit too. This is a 2.3 in Brawley. But over here is Imperial. Right here. The town of Imperial. Okay? This other town north of there, just barely south of the Salton Sea, this is called Westmoreland. I'm going to show you a seismogram from Westmoreland. So I'm showing you this so you'll understand where these earthquakes hit. Then further south here, okay, this is completely different. This is Holtville. This is Holtville. And these earthquakes south of Holtville are related to the Holtville seismogram I'm going to show you. It's called the Salton Sea Desert Research Station. You're going to see seismic events listed on that seismogram. So now you know where they came from. But there's a lot more earthquakes than they're showing here, because USGS won't show that. For example, right here, we have a 2.2. Right next to it, a 1.9. That one north of it was a 1.7. South of Holtville, this is a 2.0, minor earthquake. This is a 1.7 tremor, further south of Holtville. So now I'm going to show you seismograms coming from Los Angeles, going all the way down into San Diego. Now, given this information, some of these earthquakes you're going to be blown away at. Okay? I promise you, you're going to see earthquakes here, and that some of them are not going to be pretty. Some of these earthquakes are going to blow your mind. I'm going to show you earthquakes tonight. Tremors, some of them, yes, but not all of them. I'm going to show you 3.5s tonight. I may be showing you 4.0s tonight. Okay? Be careful, guys. Be careful. These earthquakes may blow your mind. If you live in Southern California and you have felt shaking, there's a reason for it. Okay? There's a reason for it. Now, I'm going to show you the Baldwin Hills on the north side of Los Angeles. Okay? This is a Baldwin Hills seismogram. What is so important about the Baldwin Hills? This is an oil and gas pumping area. Okay? Back in the early days of the 1900s, about 1930, they took the hills down. They bulldozed the hills. Heavy machinery was brought in and they bulldozed those hills. They covered them probably in over 200 pumps and jacks. Okay? What are we seeing here? We're seeing minor tremors hit here in the Baldwin Hills area, the oil and pumping jack area. These are tremors. These are good-sized tremors, and they're continuing. Okay? It doesn't stop here, does it? All of these tremors happen continuously. Tremors are going anywhere from 1.0 to 1.9 tremors. These appear to be 1.3 tremors, nothing larger. Fortunately for the Baldwin Hills. Let's continue. Okay? I'm now going out to Chino, north and east of Los Angeles. Usually we have a lot more tremors here in Chino, California. But folks, guys, guess what? We have a lot of tremors here. Probably more than we've had in a while. They're a little bit more spread out than we've had here in Chino, California in the past. But they're 1.5 tremors. Anywhere from 1.3 to 1.5, maybe even 1.6 up at the top right. Okay? By the way, let me show you what was the one up here. Okay? This is at 5 p.m. on the top left. 5 p.m. last night. That's where this seismogram comes from. And as you can see, going down this seismogram, it turns into 2400 or 000 hours, midnight last night. Then it continues through the early morning hours here. Okay? That's where that seismogram is. Now, it's not all of them are that way. That one is for sure. Now, I want to tell you something else. I am now going out to Fontana, which is south and east of Los Angeles. Look what happened here. Okay? Fontana has a marked increase, not just in tremors, but also in earthquakes. Okay? We're seeing a lot of tremors here. Look at the top of this seismogram. Okay? Again, it starts at 5 p.m. on the top. It's all tremors there. Good sized tremors, but it's all tremors. Then we drop down here. Okay? We drop down to about midnight here. Or just before midnight, I should say, on the green line. Down here to the right, near center, on that green line. That's a 2.0 earthquake. This is in Fontana. A 2.0 earthquake. I believe that one in the blue to the right of that is at 11:50 or 11:55 p.m. last night. That blue one. That may also be a 2.0 there. But continue looking down this seismogram. I'm going to drop down now to 1:45 a.m. on the left-hand side. You see the black line at 1 a.m. this morning on the left-hand side? Go down 3 lines to the green line. That's 1:45 a.m. this morning. We go over about 1.25 inches, and then we see another vertical line here in green. That's another 2.0 earthquake. Okay? In the past, here in Fontana, we have seen tremors, nothing but tremors. Now we're seeing 2.0, 2.2 magnitude earthquakes. Okay? Look over here near the bottom on the blue line to the right. The bottommost blue line here. Okay? Let me blow it up so you can see it and raise it up here in the air. Or on the slide anyway. This blue line here is the one we're looking at. Okay? This is 1:43 this morning. Or I'm sorry, 4:43 this morning. Okay? 4:43 this morning. This is another 2.2, maybe even a 2.3 earthquake. Okay? And look at the aftershocks from that earthquake. Even 2.0s can have aftershocks. Okay? That's a secondary wave of the quake. A secondary wave of the quake there. And it continues on the green line to the left. Look at that. The seismic activity continues. Okay? It continued into smaller tremors. Why am I showing you this? Everywhere, north, south, and east of Los Angeles, and even west of Los Angeles, we're going to show you tonight. Okay? I understand we've been here since just after 6. It's now about 2 hours. I'm going to try to show you all of the rest of this within the next 30 minutes. I understand it's getting late everywhere. It's 8:15 on the East Coast. But I think it's necessary to show you what's happening in Southern California. It's not just earthquakes around the world. Okay? Let me show you Del Amo in Los Angeles. This is pretty much an exclusive community in Del Amo. A lot of money. Look at the tremors here. It's almost continuous tremors, literally all day long. There's very little white paper in the background here. That's how big these tremors are. 2.3, 2.4 tremors. Not 2.4, those are earthquakes. 1.4, 1.5 even tremors. 1.0, 1.9 are considered to be tremors. That's what we're seeing here. Okay? Probably 1.3, 1.4 tremors. But it's continuous. It does not stop. Minute to minute, hour to hour, it does not stop. Okay? That's Del Amo. Let's continue. There's another town that's called Ellis in Los Angeles. This is Ellis, guys. Now I pulled this seismogram just after 1 p.m. today. Look what we found here. Before, we've seen 1.2, 1.3 tremors here. Now it's getting to be larger than that. 1.4, 1.5, 1.8, 1.9 tremors. Over on the green line on the right-hand side. Okay, you see that jumble of green there? This is after, or just before, I should say, just before 10 a.m. this morning. Look at that. The bottom of these seismic episodes are covered up by the color that happened after that. The seismic activity that happened after 10:58, 10:59 this morning. Folks, what we're seeing here is a 2.0, 2.2 magnitude earthquake. And with all that color, that means this was a 2.0, 2.2 earthquake, and it lasted for maybe 30 seconds. Most people are not going to feel minor earthquakes. They're not going to feel 2.0, 2.9. Really sensitive people might feel a 2.5, 2.9, but that's all. Most people are not going to feel any shaking until it gets to be about a 3.5, which is considered a small earthquake. This is rising seismic energy. This is increasing seismic energy. Let's drop down here to 10:15 on the left-hand side. You see 10 a.m. this morning over here on the left on the black line? The red line is 10:15. We go over here about 3 minutes. Okay? You see increasing seismic activity until 10:18. Then it increases. Okay? And it's hard to see what is going on because we have black and green and blue colors in the past, earlier today. Okay? This appears to be 1.7, 1.8 tremors. It could be 2.0 earthquake. We can't see the bottom of it very well. We continue over here on the left-hand side at 10:30. We have a group of seismic activity right there that lasted a full minute. Okay? Then we drop down to 11:30 this morning on this blue line. We go over to the right. Okay? Now we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 11:35 this morning. Okay? The seismic energy is building, isn't it? Okay? It goes from maybe 1.2 to 1.3, 1.4. Then it continues off to the right here. 2 minutes later, we have a 1.7, 1.8 tremor. Then within 45 seconds, about 45 seconds, now we have 2.0 magnitude earthquake, and those 2.0 seismic waves continue for 2 minutes. We can't see the bottom of it, but we can see the top. 2.0 earthquakes. Okay? Guys, this is serious. This is in Ellis, California. Okay? You can see the seismic energy here. It's been building here. This is the most seismic energy we've seen at Ellis in a very long time. Overall, energy has increased substantially even over the last week and after that, before that. Okay, this is big time seismic energy. Let's go over to east of Long Beach. This is what they call light hype. Okay, Look what we see here. Okay? Up at the top of it, we see some light tremor activity, don't we? At first, it does not appear to be much at all. 1.3, 1.4, maybe 1.5s occasionally. But we get over here to the right. Okay? This happens to be about, let's see, it starts off at 5 a.m. So this is about 5:20, or not 5:20. This is about 5:11 a.m. this morning. 11 minutes after 5 this morning. That line that goes up to the top is a 2.0 magnitude earthquake. A 2.0 earthquake. Look what happens after that. The tremors continue, don't they? Now, I don't see any tremors or anything larger than a tremor until we get down here to the bottom of this seismogram. This is 1 p.m. today on the black line. Okay, we see some lines going down here. These black lines going down are at least 2.0, maybe 2.3 earthquakes. Okay? This is just east of Los Angeles, or Long Beach. East of Long Beach. Okay? There's also another seismograph that's also south and east of Long Beach. It's called State Street. I'm going now to show you State Street. This is unreal. I have never seen so much earthquake activity at Long Beach area. Look at State Street here. Okay? Now we're literally off the charts here. This starts out at 5 a.m. this morning on the left-hand side. Within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, within 8 minutes, about 5:08 this morning. Look what we're seeing here. Before that, about 5:05, 5:06, we're already at 2.0 earthquakes, aren't we? About a minute and a half, 2 minutes later, on the top of this. Now we're seeing at least, excuse me, allergies. We're seeing at least a 2.5 magnitude earthquake. At least. This may be even larger than that. It's off the chart here to the top, right? Yes, it certainly is. We don't see the bottom of that black line here because it's being colored or covered by color of the seismic activity after that. Okay? But we can look through this entire seismogram and we can see that this was earthquake activity today, not just tremors. This is earthquake activity. We see blue and red lines here. We may have seen close to a 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes all day long here. Then we look at the bottom of this. Okay? We're looking at the blue lines on the left and the red lines on the right. Okay? The red lines are after 3:15. The blue lines are, not 1:15. The blue line at the bottom is 1:30. Looking at the 1:30 line, okay? Yes, we have 2.5 earthquakes. We have some tremors, don't we? Oh yeah. Here we have 2.5. About 1:32 p.m. today. This is probably 2.7 magnitude earthquake. Minor earthquakes. Okay? We go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? 1:35 today. It continues. Okay? This was at least a 2.5, 2.7 earthquake. We move over almost 3 minutes later. This, folks, is nearly a 3.0 earthquake, if not a 3.0 earthquake. in this blue line here. This is larger than the others. This is probably a 3.0 earthquake, right? Then we continue to go to the right. These are all 2.0 activity. Everyone. Papua New Guinea has a 5.7 earthquake that just struck. It's down in the southern Pacific. Papua New Guinea, a 5.7 earthquake. Incredible power. Okay? All that seismic energy is moving, guys. We showed you earthquakes in Indonesia. Now it's moving west. Okay? We're going to continue to see that. I think what we're going to see as that seismic energy moves from west to east, we're going to see earthquakes in the Solomon Islands, in Vanuatu. We're going to see more earthquakes in Fiji. Today we didn't see any, did we? We didn't see any in Tonga either. We're going to see those earthquakes either tonight or tomorrow. Okay? I can promise you they're going to happen. There's a reason for it. Tomorrow I'll show you the reason. Okay? Tomorrow I'll definitely show you the reason that that's going to happen. Right? Let's continue this. Okay, I'm going to skip over a lot of these seismograms because they show some energy here, yes. But I want to show you the big ones so you'll be aware of it. Light Hype and State Street were the major ones, okay? There's another one here that is called Moore Park. Okay, I want to show you this. Moore Park was never this strong before. We've never seen this energy such as Moore Park as we're seeing today. Up at the top of this, again, this one happened at 6 p.m. This seismogram started at 6 p.m. yesterday, okay? Or 5 p.m. yesterday at the top black line, 5 p.m. Okay, we go over here to the right after 5 p.m. on the left, and this is about 5:26 p.m. last night. That, folks, is probably a 2.0 earthquake. That's all fine and good. After that, at 6:15, 6:18, we have probably a 1.7 tremor. Not an earthquake, but a tremor. The rest of these are tremors also, until we get down to 21:15 on the left. We count the minutes over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? This would be 9:25. No, 9:23, I'm sorry. 9:23 p.m. last night. On this red line in the center here. This is close to a 2.0 earthquake, if it's not. On the green line below it to the right, okay, this would be 9:45 on the left, and over here, this would be about 9:55. 9:55, we got a 2.1 earthquake. Then we drop down to after midnight. Okay, about 12:45 on the left here. Let's go over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 12:50 p.m. or excuse me, 12:50 a.m. 12:50 a.m. this morning. Now, folks, we have a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. And this earthquake continues to shake for over a minute and a half. Now, this is what it looks like. Okay? 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. But look at the top and look at the bottom. The agency cut off the top and the bottom of this seismic signature. I will bet you that this was over a 3.0 earthquake. I don't see the top and I don't see the bottom, and there's no way we can because the agency cut it off. Seismic energy does not appear like this. It doesn't get cut off like this. They're not all the same size earthquakes. Okay? This was at least a small earthquake. It could be felt. This earthquake was felt. This is in Moore Park in Los Angeles. Okay? Again, this is a pretty good sized earthquake. It wasn't moderate, it wasn't large. But this in itself was a small earthquake, and this could be felt. All right? I'm just telling you guys, this is what you're seeing in Los Angeles now. Now, we talked to Sage Pup over in Santa Barbara earlier, didn't we? Guess what? Over near him is another town called Lompoc. Lompoc has a federal penitentiary there, a federal jail. It's a town of maybe, I want to say, 9,000 or 10,000 people. We finally pulled a seismogram from Lompoc. Before, there was nothing on the seismogram. Okay? Now Caltech has revealed that this place is getting hit with just microquakes. Side to side, top to bottom on this seismogram is nothing more than microquakes. Apparently, they've turned the seismograph up to record at least microquakes. They may have turned it down before, because we've seen nothing like this before. This is new. As we go through the process during the oncoming weeks, we will continue to check Lompoc. This is over by Santa Barbara, guys. Okay? We can see what's going on. I know for a fact that there's energy there. They just have not been honest with us. Okay? I've shown you this before. For those of you that want to know where Lompoc is, here's where Lompoc is. Okay? You see ACOM over to the left-hand side? That's part of a military base there. There happens to be an Air Force base there. Okay? That ACOM area is where they launch rockets. That's where they launch rockets from. Okay? That's where Lompoc, California is. I've been in Lompoc before. I had a friend of mine that works at the prison. Okay? Let me show you a bigger picture here. Okay? This is more of a picture for tourist area, showing the Hilton Garden Inn, the Budget Inn, the O'Cairns Inn and Suites. Okay? This is Lompoc. It's a beautiful town. It really is. It's a real beautiful town. But I wanted you to at least know where Lompoc is. Okay? All right, let's continue here. I showed you Del Amo. I've shown you Light Hype. I have not shown you Laguna Bell. Okay? Laguna Bell is pretty much the same thing as it was during the past weeks and months. I have a feeling that the seismograph has been turned way down and it's not being turned up at all. Okay? It hasn't been turned up at all. They may have even been copying and pasting these seismograms because they really have not changed. Okay? So this, I don't believe, is absolutely correct here. This is Laguna Bell. This is along the coast of California over there near Los Angeles. Okay? It's the coast. I want to go now to Playa del Rey. Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey. Okay? This is also a very exclusive area along the coast of LA, north of Los Angeles. Here is an increase in seismic activity here. During the past month or so, they've actually, I believe, turned down the seismograph. This time they've turned it up. This time we're seeing constant tremor activity. Before it was intermittent at best. Now this is constant tremor activity here. This is 1.3, even up to 1.4, 1.5 tremors here, depending on where you look. But we've never seen this kind of activity before here in this area. Okay? This is Marina del Rey, Playa del Rey. A lot of boats are here. Boats and yachts are in the marina. Okay? It's a very exclusive area. Homes probably going from $500,000 up to $2 or $3 million here. Okay? That's what's going on here along the coast. All right. I want to go over to Mount Wilson, over east of Los Angeles. Mount Wilson. This is the first time we have ever seen any seismic activity whatsoever. Look at the tremors that happened at 9 o'clock. This actually about 8:15. No, not even that. Let's go back to 8:45 this morning. 8:45 this morning. Look at the tremors here on the green line. And they continue after 9 a.m. Okay? But after that, it appears that they turned down the seismograph and they're not letting us see anything. Okay? They're not letting us see anything. Now, folks, after 1:15, they turned it off. They let it run through 1 o'clock this afternoon. Over on the left-hand side, it says 1300, doesn't it? The line goes all the way down here to the right, to just before 1:15. They turned it off. There's nothing here. This means there was a seismic device here that was just barely registering anything. So these tremors here that you're seeing here were probably much larger. Probably much larger. The energy forced itself past the electronic turndown here at Mount Wilson. Now, for those of you that are wondering what Mount Wilson is, it's on top of a small mountain. A small mountain in Los Angeles. Let me show you Mount Wilson here. Okay? This is Mount Wilson. Okay? You can see it here. See that array of antennas here? Those antennas are radio and television antennas. Radio and television antennas. Here's a closer look. Okay? But there's something even more special about Mount Wilson. Okay? What do you think I'm talking about? Right here. Let me blow this up for you. This is an astronomical observatory. Mount Wilson, California, just east of Los Angeles. Yes, there's a seismograph in this building. Okay? That's where we got that seismograph. But whoever's operating it has it turned so far down, it's hardly recording anything. That's a crime. That's really a crime. Okay? As I've told some of you before that have been watching our program before on the other channel, I was a federal police officer. If I had falsified any of my reports, they would not just have fired me, they would have locked me up. It's a federal crime to falsify data. It's a federal crime to turn the seismographs so far down where they're not recording information. It's a federal crime. If it's the state of California, meaning Caltech, California Technical University, well, guess what? Then it becomes a felony. Okay? It's a felony to falsify data. This is a state-run program. I believe this is a state-run seismograph. So it's a felony to turn this thing down and put out false information. We pay taxes. We pay taxes for that equipment, for them to buy the equipment. We pay taxes to know what's going on, and they are not giving us information. Okay? I showed you all over Los Angeles. Now let's go east and south. Okay? East and south. Let's go over to Rinaldi. Rinaldi is another community here in Los Angeles area. Okay? I've been here as well. Here, we're not just seeing tremors anymore. We're not seeing tremors anymore. In the past, that's all we've seen here in Rinaldi. Most of the time, it's been larger energy as well. But here, all this is just very tiny tremors, except here at the bottom here. Over on the green line here. That's 12:45. We go 4 minutes after that, 12:49. All of a sudden, what do we see? We see larger tremors, don't we? Larger tremors. Incredible, huh? Because again, I think the seismograph is turned so far down that the energy itself is breaking through the electronic turndown. Okay? Why do I say that? Because the other information here is the same that is above it. The other lines are the same as above them, meaning the seismic energy made its way through the turndown. This seismic energy may have been larger than what it's showing here. I told you the green lines here, probably 1.4, 1.6, maybe tremors. These may have been larger earthquakes. That's what I'm saying. Okay? They're not being honest with us. We've seen this before. We've seen it before. It happens. Let's go over to Part E. We've shown you the Part E seismogram before. All we see here are tremors. I don't even think we have a full-blown 2.0 earthquake. We might up here near the top on the blue line here. That might be a 2.0, 2.3 minor earthquake. Might. But this is the most information that we've gotten out of this seismogram ever. Okay? Now let me show you another one here. Okay? I've shown you Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey. Can anybody guess where I might be going? Okay? Can anybody guess where I might be taking you? How about to Walnut La Puente? Look at this. Look at this. This is also an exclusive community. People have a lot of money that live here. Now we're seeing full-blown earthquakes. These are felt observations here. These are full-blown earthquakes, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt in my mind. Okay? Some of them, you see the top and the bottom knocked off of them? That means they edited this seismic signatures. They've edited the signatures. Okay? These probably were over 3.5, maybe even close to 4.0 earthquakes. Okay? The ones that were cut off were at least 3.5 to 4.0 earthquakes. Why do I know that? Because people reported shaking there. People reported shaking there, but the agency doesn't have record of it. Why do I know people reported shaking? Because I have friends there that reported the shaking. This is important information. Look at these larger earthquakes. Over here near the bottom, on the blue line, okay? The third from the bottom, kind of up to the left-hand center of this seismograph. This seismograph is reporting a lot of information here. On this blue line specifically, we're seeing 3.0, 3.2, 3.3, earthquakes here. Look at the thickness of these quakes. This means the seismic energy did not stop shaking. It did not come near going down less than it was. Okay? For a full minute there. Prior to that, for maybe 20 seconds. Okay? Back-to-back earthquakes. Literally. That's something doing crazily there, isn't it? On the green lines as well. Look at this. On the black line below that, it says, here it says 0400 hours early this morning. 0400 hours early this morning, 4 a.m. Just about 3 minutes after 4 this morning on the black line, bottom black line. You're seeing earthquake activity. Probably at least 3.0 magnitude earthquakes. The top of it is covered by seismic energy that happened just prior to that. And down towards the bottom, you can see some of the bottom here. But some of it is also covered up by seismic activity after this. Okay, we're seeing 3.0, 3.5 activity. These are full-blown earthquakes. Full-blown earthquakes here in Los Angeles area. Okay? You need to see this. This is the same kind of energy that we had on the north side of Mount Shasta a year ago, until they shut the seismograph off. The north side of Mount Shasta was showing us the same thing, the same images. Now, I showed you the Salton Sea, didn't I? Well, guess what's going on at the Salton Sea? South of the Salton Sea, we told you about a town called Imperial. Look what's happening at Imperial. The same kind of seismic signatures is happening here in the Imperial Valley. The USGS did not tell us about this. All they showed us were earthquakes happening in Brawley and in Holtville. That's all they showed us. Guess what's happening here in Imperial? Folks, this up at the top in the blue, this is very concerning. This is very concerning. These are full-blown earthquakes. And I'm talking anywhere from 2.5 up here at the top over to 3.0 in the center of this, right of center here on this blue line. That's at least a 3.0 earthquake. It started off with tremors. It doubled up to 2.0 over 2.0 minor earthquakes, and then it continued. It continued getting larger. And like I said, over just right of the center of that seismic signature, that's a 3.0 earthquake. Now, over here on the center left, on the blue line, okay, that is 2:30 this morning. What happened prior to that? Let's go over to the red line above it on the right side. Look what happened here. The 2:15 side is over on the left. We move over here, and now we're talking about 2:20 this morning. Well, actually not even that. 2:25 a.m. this morning. We had tremors building. Then it graduated up to 1.7, 1.8 tremors. Then that continued for a while. Then we had 2.0 earthquakes. Then it died down a little, and the seismic energy built again. This time up to 2.5, 2.8, 3.0 earthquakes. 3.0 earthquakes. Why can I tell? Because the top and the bottom of this seismic signature have been cut off again. Okay, now it's built into at least a 3.5 earthquake, and that continues over here on the left-hand side on the blue line. Okay, this time it goes down to maybe 2.8 and gets less and less and less. What is that? That is a secondary wave from that 3.0 earthquake. The secondary wave here lasted for nearly 4 minutes before it petered out into a body wave. Okay? Now, what is happening below that? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, seismic energy doesn't work like that. Okay? It does not go out to microquakes like that. It doesn't. It doesn't. Down here near the bottom, 4 o'clock on the 4 a.m. this morning on the black line, all we see is barely an increase in seismic activity, 1.0 tremors. Folks, that I don't think is real. They turned down the seismograph. They turned down the seismograph here at Imperial Valley, at the town of Imperial in Imperial County. They turned it down. Now, I'm going to go up north from there on the east side of the Salton Sea. What is so special about that? What is special about that, guys? Those of you that know me know that I've talked about this for a long time. This is Bombay Beach. Remember me showing you at the Salton Sea where the Bombay Beach area is? Guess what? The same kind of seismic signatures that we saw at Imperial, that we saw at Walnut La Puente, guess what? Those same larger earthquakes are happening here. These are not large. These are not large 5.0 earthquakes. They're not moderate earthquakes. These are small earthquakes. Every one of them. Every one of them. Except maybe on the blue line that you can see peeking through the green. Okay, that blue line, that's probably 2.5, 2.8. But the green line in front of it, now we're seeing 2.9, 3.0 activity on the green line. Okay? Look at the number of earthquakes side by side here. That's a lot of seismic energy. And then you can see the green thicker lines here. That means the earthquakes hit side by side literally, within a second of each other. Okay? The same thing on the black lines here. Okay? Side by side energy hitting, second after second after second. And it goes on for a long time, doesn't it? Okay? Over on the right hand side, you're seeing 9 a.m. No, what is it? Yes, 9 a.m. this morning. Over on the right, now this is about 9:13, 9:12 a.m. this morning. 3.0 earthquakes, guys. And the energy kept going, didn't it? All throughout this seismogram, we're seeing seismic energy. This normally happens here at Bombay Beach. Every day, this happens at Bombay Beach. It does not change unless they turn off the machines, which they have been doing. Okay? Down here at the bottom, on this black line, this is 1400 hours, which is 2 p.m. We go over to 202, we see seismic energy building here. It goes from 1.0, or I shouldn't say that, 0.1 microquakes, and it builds its way up here until 3 minutes later when we have 1.2, 1.3. Then all of a sudden it builds up to at least a 2.5, 2.8 earthquake. Side by side thick lines. And then the seismic energy continues to hit. We see individual quakes here, don't we? Isn't that something? Sometimes it's only 2.0, 2.3, but all of a sudden we get these 3.0 earthquakes. Okay? This is Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach. Let's go back down to Westmoreland. Westmoreland is not as much, there's not as much happening at Westmoreland. Oh, don't tell me. Well, it's too late for me to try to revive the seismogram for Westmoreland. But it's not as much energy as we've seen at Imperial. It's not as much energy as we've seen at Brawley on the USGS earthquake map. It's not as much energy as we've seen over at Bombay Beach or even North Shore Salton Sea. Okay, this is incredible. This is incredible. Let me show you something else over at Holtville. You saw earthquakes at Holtville on the USGS map. Look what we have here at Holtville. This not only mimics what we saw on the USGS map, but now you're actually seeing tremors and earthquakes here. And it's not just the few tremors that they pointed out on the map. There's a ton of tremors. Anywhere from 1.3 to 1.5 to 1.7, 1.8, even including on this black line here after 9 a.m. It's in the middle of this black line here, so let's go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 minutes after 9 a.m. 9:08. That's where we see a 2.5 earthquake. Okay? That's where we saw that 2.5 earthquake that they showed us on the map. But here you're seeing a more detailed view of the actual events happening at Holtville. This seismograph is located at the Salton Sea Desert Research Station in Holtville. Okay, so now you see the truth of what's actually going on in Holtville. Now I promised you Calipatria. It's over on the southwest end of the Salton Sea. Guess what? This is a more true statement of what's going on at the Salton Sea. Okay? Down at the southern end of the Salton Sea, there's a volcano. It's called the Salton Butte Volcano. Some of this seismic energy is a result of that volcano. It's not erupting. It's been hitting. Each of the volcanoes that we've been talking about over the years here. In just another week or so, it'll be 4 years that we've been on the air. Every time we've shown you seismic activity at Calipatria, it's been more than just a handful of earthquakes and tremors. Here on this seismogram here, we're showing you at least 150 earthquakes and tremors. Look at that. These red lines are computer generated, letting the seismologist say, hey, look at this, seismologist. The red line over on the left-hand side, that's a this is at least a 2.2 magnitude earthquake. The one over there above that, that's a red line to the right, okay, that looks to be a 2.2 as well. These longer lines are 2.0 here after that. Okay, the shorter ones are just tremors. The shorter ones are tremors. Then look at this, okay? Look at this turn down here. Look at the turn down. Why did they turn this seismograph down? It was a distinct turn down. You saw a lot of seismic activity here before that. This is a turn down. Okay? Why did they do it? I don't know. But anytime you see this come up on any seismogram that the rest of the seismogram doesn't look like it, this is a turn down. We're seeing magma here on this particular section here. Okay, this happened after 10:30 last night. 22:15 up here on the left hand side. The next line is 22:30, 10:30. Between 10:30 and 1 a.m. they turned it down. We're seeing magma coming into the magma chamber, can't we? We see these magma pulse signals where the line is thin, gets thicker, and gets thinner again. Those are called magma pulse signals, magma PULSC signals. Okay? You see magma coming into the magma chamber here. Look at these other earthquakes and tremors here, guys. Look at this. This was today. It was turned down just before midnight. It was turned up after 1 a.m. this morning. We started to see tremors again. Okay? And we start to see thicker lines here, as we see at 10:45 a.m. this morning and before that. More magma coming into the magma chamber. We see earthquakes all over the place and tremors. 2.0 earthquakes, 2.2 earthquakes, and tons of tremors here. There's over 150 earthquakes and tremors here just on this seismogram alone. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt what we've been saying about the Salton Sea. There's more earthquakes activity here than they've been telling us about on the USGS map. They're not even telling us what is going on, what is really happening here. Folks, just judging by the seismic activity that they're showing us on the USGS map, this is telling us that there's more information there. There's bigger earthquakes than they're talking about. Why is that important? Because, folks, there's going to be a larger earthquake happen there. I can promise you that. Down here in the Imperial Valley, south of the Salton Sea probably, there's going to be a large earthquake. And I'm saying there's going to be at least a 5.0 earthquake hit down here in the Imperial Valley, California. Okay? We've talked to you a lot about earthquakes. We've talked to you a lot about weather tonight. Folks, California is getting smacked around. Soon, California is going to see possibly even a major earthquake. Okay? It's going to see a major earthquake. There's been large seismic events down in southern Mexico. I'm telling you right now, I've seen the earthquakes that have hit today in Central America, in Mexico, southern Mexico. Swarms of minor earthquakes, no tremors, just minor earthquakes. And small earthquakes, 3.0, 3.9 earthquakes, even 4.0, 4.5 earthquakes in southern Mexico. Southern Mexico is going to get hit by another 5.0 very soon. We've seen what's happening now in South America. That energy is moving north. We're going to see that in Central America very shortly, probably within the next week. After that, the earthquake energy is going to go into southern Mexico. And after that, folks, we may see it here in San Diego or Los Angeles. Okay? San Diego or LA. And I'm talking about a 6.5 to a 7.5 major earthquake in Southern California, probably within the next month. It's going to happen. We've seen it happen before. In 2010, Southern California got rocked by an earthquake just across the border in Mexico, just south of Imperial Valley in Mexico. in a place they call Mexicali. Across the other side in California, it's called Calexico. There was a 7.1 magnitude earthquake, and it may have been larger than that. Skyscrapers in San Diego were rocked. Large plate glass windows of skyscrapers were thrown out of the skyscraper onto the street. I was there, April 2010. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. It's a matter of time. I'm trying to show you that information so that you are aware, so that you know what's going on in your neck of the woods. We have 112 thumbs up. I appreciate that. Before you leave tonight, please give this channel a thumbs up if you appreciate the information we have. Please subscribe to this channel like we said earlier. This is the kind of information you're going to get. You're going to get preparatory emergency information so you and your family can prepare for emergencies and disasters, because that's what's happening now all over California, and not just in California. It's happening across the entire world. We've told you about possible World War III with Russia and China. Yesterday, Prime Minister Xi Jinping, which is the president of China, visited with Russian President Putin. Today they met together in a news conference, and Putin basically declared war with NATO and the West, because we've supplied, and Britain included, we've supplied tanks and ammunition for those tanks, bunker busters, and not just bunker busters, tipped ammunition to go through steel plates. Russia doesn't like that. Ukraine is pushing into Russia. Russia doesn't like that. So China and Russia are now united militarily together. China's supplying ammunition and weapons to Russia. Russian troops have been decimated in Ukraine. Allegedly, according to Putin, he emptied his prisons and put prisoners down at the war's edge. Allegedly, those prisoners have been killed fighting the war in Ukraine. Now he's going into high schools and drafting 15-year-olds. He's now raised the draft age to 65 in Russia. Now there are headlines saying that the United States and China will be at war with each other by 2025. I saw that today. We're already supplying troops in Ukraine. We know they're there. I've seen them personally. Britain has troops in Ukraine. Sweden has troops in Ukraine. We've given them munitions. We've given them equipment. We're involved. Every nation of this world should be anxious at what's going on, in the very least. You should be preparing. We have talked on this channel about emergency preparedness. We'll continue it until we can't breathe anymore. Emergency preparedness is key, whether it be for earthquakes or whatever disaster or emergency that's happening. We've also talked about banking for the past 2 weeks. Folks, banks are closing, big and small. We've told you to keep cash. Enough cash to supply yourself with food and those things that you need for emergencies. Don't start spending it until you don't have any other money left. That is emergency money that you need to save. I'm asking you guys, get prepared and do it now. Do it now. We may not have much time left, but do it now. I'm talking everybody in England. I'm talking about everybody in Scandinavia, in Romania, in Croatia, even in Ecuador, in Venezuela, in Colombia. in Chile, and Argentina, and Brazil, and Bolivia, Australia. I got information earlier that perturbs me about Australia. The politicians in Australia said that if China attacks Taiwan, that Australia may not support the United States in defending Taiwan. Isn't that interesting? Unreal. JB Maps says 160 banks have already failed, and it's going to be more than that. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. You need to prepare for whatever is going to happen, because it's coming apart at the edges, and it's pretty soon going to completely come apart totally. The time is now. Get prepared. Anywhere in our programs, if you see a tile that says preparedness, you can darn well better believe that that program, that particular day, is talking about emergency preparedness, whether it's emergency planning, talking about emergency kits or water storage or whatever it is. That's what it is. You need to see those programs. Every Friday is called Emergency Preparedness Friday. Any other day of the week, we're talking about emergencies and disasters that have happened to make you aware of what is going on around the world and here in the U.S. That's what we do here on this channel. Please join us here. Subscribe and hit that all button. Hit that, click on that bell icon. Click on the ALL to get you notified when we come on the program, whether or not YouTube does that. We're here between 6 and 7 p.m., sometimes as late as 8 p.m., Monday through Friday. On Sunday, we do a Sunday school class that we've called Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. That happens at 12 noon on Sundays. Now this Sunday may be a little bit different. We probably are going to come on a little bit later, only because we have a special program that we need to go to at a church in Hickory. That's about 20 minutes away from here, 20 minutes north and east. So Sunday's program may come on Sunday afternoon, sometime probably 1 or 2 o'clock at the latest. But we will be on the air Sunday with our Sunday school program. So please tune in for that. Please be here tomorrow when we talk about the Cascadia megathrust earthquake and the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest and as far south as Northern California. Meantime, folks, as Walter Cronkite would say, and that's the way it is. This happens to be Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. I want to leave you with a thought before I leave you tonight. This comes from the Acts of the Apostles, Acts chapter 9, starting with verse 4, going through verse 6. Verse 4, And he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. Up until this point, Saul had been almost denying the Lord. Saul had been kicking against the pricks, making it very hard for anybody that believed in Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ stopped him and talked to him and asked him, why is he persecuting Jesus Christ? It's hard for thee to kick against the pricks. In verse 6, And he trembling, astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise, and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. Brothers and sisters, this is exactly what Christ does with us. That is exactly what Christ does with us. He tries to pick us up and raise us up, and then tells us what he wants us to do. It's up to each of us to follow the impressions that we get from the Holy Ghost in our lives, to find out what Jesus Christ wants us to do. Then it's our responsibility to act and do what Christ would have us do, to be his servants here on this earth. That's my testimony tonight. This is what we must do. That's what this channel is all about, to help each other and to help other people. Linda Covington says, Hickory, North Carolina is capital of furniture manufacturing. Yes, it is. Well, guess what? Hickory's not the only place. Over just north and east of here is a town called Valdese. That's where I have my post office box. P.O. Box 422, Valdese, Valdese, North Carolina 28690. Valdese has several furniture manufacturing plants. Unreal. They make really beautiful furniture here. We also have Amish people here that make beautiful furniture. We have an Amish furniture store here in Morganton, North Carolina, right in the downtown area. Unreal. Beautiful area. I love this area. I really love it here. It's great. Folks, I want you to know that I have a testimony of Jesus Christ. I know that he lives. That's why we share scriptures with you at the end of every program. And that's the reason we teach Sunday school on Sundays. So you have an opportunity to be able to commune with the Savior. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. I hope you have a wonderful evening. If anything else happens this evening, we'll come back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. We've always done that. I wish that God would bless you tonight. May God be with you this day and always. May God be with you till we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Have a great night, everybody. God bless you. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody.